What you reading?
Oh, I'm reading something that is pretty good. Read it when I was a kid. It has to do with a door in the dragon's throat. This door that is open toward the end of time. What are you reading?
Oh, same thing. Something I used to read a long time ago too, but seems like both of our books have to do with today's study.
I reckon so. Looks like we're what passage are we in now?
Revelation 9.
Revelation 9. All right. Well,
So,
let's start reading that.
I have Captain, my husband, again, as promised. So we're going to dive into Revelation 9, but we're going to kind of do something a little bit differently. We're going to do Revelation 9, 1, 2, and 11, group those together because we kind of need that first. And then we're going to go tomorrow into 3 through 10 and break up some sections that way. So I guess I'll begin reading. The fifth angel sounded his trumpet, and I saw a star that had fallen from the sky to the earth. The star was given the key to the shaft of abyss. When he opened the abyss, smoke rose from it like the smoke from a gigantic furnace. The sun and sky were darkened by the smoke from the abyss. Skip over to 11. They had as king over them the angel of the abyss, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon and in Greek Apollyon. Haha, the book I was just looking at.
Which in English is destroyer.
Yes. Okay, so take it away.
Just like that. Okay, so the fifth angel, the fifth trumpet, is a star that's fallen out of heaven on the earth. Yes?
Sorry. Okay, so yesterday we talked about in Revelation 8 where it talked about things that were happening on the land and then on the sea and then the sky, and now we're going under the earth. Okay.
Good point. Okay, so usually one of the metaphors, the descriptions of the sons of God, the ancient, like we talked about before, the archangels, the Elohim, the princes, the sons of God, is stars, right? Because they're the shining ones, the holy ones, the far off, brilliant, righteous, holy ones. So we got a star that's fallen out of heaven on earth. He's given the key to the shaft leading to the abyss. And the word in Greek there is the same one that Peter used in his writings. That's the word for Tartarus, what we know as Tartarus. If you remember our other discussions with Greek mythology and what the word Tartarus is, Tartarus is like the hell of hell. It's the deepest place that you can go to. It's where the 200 angels the 200 Elohim, sons of God, that fell in Genesis 6 and Enoch, is where they're chained up. So when Peter says that Jesus went to preach to the angels and to preach to the spirits that are in chains and gloomy darkness, this is where he's gone to. It's the abyss, or Tartarus. This is like the deep. It would take you, as long as it take, according to Greek mythology, just to give you an idea of their understanding, it would take you 9 days to fall from heaven to earth, and then 9 days to fall from earth to Hades, and then 9 more days to keep on going through Hades until you hit Tartarus. So this is like this is like death row of the jail. This is the bad, really bad. This is the badder than bad place.
Now, when I was saying the star was given the key to the shaft of the abyss, he was given the keys to death and Hades.
Yeah, he was already given the keys to death and Hades.
And Jesus took it.
So, according to Enoch, I see, he opens the door, the sun's dark, the sun is dark, and the sky too. The smoke comes up onto the earth. Out of the smoke comes locusts, and they're given the power like scorpions have on earth. They were it talks about the locust.
Yeah, we're not getting to the locust till tomorrow.
So, obviously, we'll talk about locusts. But when you read their descriptions, you find that again, we're going to Enoch again, because this is a book that Jesus and Peter and Paul and John and this is a normal book. This is a whole book of Enoch.
There's a lot in Enoch that's going to help with understanding.
Yeah, you have to know what their cultural, their mindset is, their literature mindset is, in order to know what they're talking about. But in Enoch, it says that the spirits that were demons are the spirits of the giants, the Nephilim that were killed in the flood. However, God didn't allow all of the demons to still be on earth. He only allowed 1/10 of the demon spirits to roam the earth. The other 9/10 were chained up with their Elohim fathers in the abyss, in Tartarus. This is the same place that Jesus, when he was about to cast Legion, when he was about to cast Legion out, Legion's going, "Oh, no, please don't send me to the abyss." Like, this is that place that he's about to send them. So here, the other 9/10 of all the demons that exist are holed up in Tartarus, and they're being released at this point.
Yeah. So when it gets to 11, this is what I was talking about with Revelation 8, and I gave you just a little taste before we get into this, is that you need to know the Old Testament. Well, it's Enoch too. Enoch helps.
All the
all the
intertestament
literature that they use. But also, your Greek mythology from high school is going to come into so much play in these books. So, in this book.
And we're not saying...
Finish.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. I need to jump in there when you say that.
You can do that in a second. So, when it comes to Greek mythology, when we start talking about some of these gods, like we mentioned the other day about Apollo, there's some more that are going to be actually described here in this book, particularly in chapter 10. But they are talked about not as something, oh, I can't believe they're talking about Greek mythology while you're studying Revelation. It literally spells it out in 11 that he is talking about one of these, because it even says whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon and in Greek, Apollyon. Well, this is one of their gods that they understand in the Greek mythology. So he's referencing this. Okay, now you can jump in.
Remember, mythology doesn't mean fake. Like in English, myth means a fake story, a pretend story. Right. Mythology means religion. Now, we're not saying that the Greek religion is right. Mm-hmm. And we're not saying Christianity is just another mythology. What we're saying is that the Greek mythology and Canaanite mythology and Mesopotamian and Roman, all these Egyptian mythology, all their mythologies are another take on what the truth is, but they're the fake news version, right? The scripture gives us the real news, but all those other mythologies are giving us the fake news version. So the Bible is setting everything straight. This is what actually happened. But for some of the rest of the story and the background, go look at what the other fake news is saying, because they have parts in there that scripture doesn't have. We're not saying they're right. We're saying the Bible gives you the truth, and these are other viewpoints that you do need to know in order to know the truth.
For example, I think we've talked about this here. Maybe it was in a different video.
Actually, calling it fake news really helps.
It does. Okay, so for another example, because I referenced this also in Revelation 8, that a lot of what took place in the beginning is going to come into play again here in Revelation. So you have what took place with the plagues against the Egyptian gods. Well, we have this text that tells us the real story. Then you go and study some of the Egyptian histories, and it confirms what is being said, but from the other side. And then you get a little bit more understanding of some of the insights into why it was so incredibly important that God came against those gods. Because if you don't understand the Egyptian gods, you want to understand why that particular plague was so potent against Egypt, if that makes sense.
Yeah, God's not sending random plagues. He's taking his finger and going, I'm coming after you for this one.
Yeah. But for us, from our perspective, we don't understand that because we don't serve those gods. So when you actually look at it through the perspective of the Egyptians, what they served and the different heads on the gods, like the crocodile head, and we talked about the god that we always read the text as frogs. Well, it's not frogs because the Hebrew word is marsh jumper, and when you look at the fullness of the context, then it actually tells you it's a crocodile. Then you read the Egyptian manuscripts, and you find they talk about the exact same plagues, except they don't say frogs, they say crocodiles. And then you understand more of how targeted it was to that particular Egyptian god that had a crocodile head, and what it entailed, and why them coming out of the Nile uncontrolled was a big deal. So when you understand all of that, then here we're looking at Greek mythology, the Greek gods. It's the same thing when you begin to understand the context of what he's attacking or what he's releasing. Then it begins to make more sense as to what's going on in the full picture.
Because you remember, the Romans took their gods from the Greeks. What most people don't know is the Greeks took their gods from the Canaanites. So these are the Greco-Roman Canaanite gods that he's coming against here in the New Testament a lot of times.
Yes. And even America was built on a lot of Roman Empire.
And we're not, when we're saying gods, we're saying that, again, their version is that they're the gods. That's the fake news story. The real news is that those are archangel princes and powers and principalities and rulers of darkness.
Okay, one other thing, unless there's something else to add, but one more thing is that when the Bible speaks of angels, Satan was still an angel. They didn't change creatures. Satan didn't go from an angel to becoming something totally different. He's still an angel, and so is other ones. But there's fallen angels, and there's angels that serve God. So when the Bible speaks of some of these angels, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are servants of God. It may mean, as we're going to find out, that some of these are actually some of these fallen angels, such as Satan. So when you read in the text, you have to understand all these different angles. Don't think of this particular angel. Anytime it mentions angels, that is God's servant. It isn't, but they have to do the bidding of God because they still have to obey Him. Okay, sorry. Anything else?
Unless, are you ready to go to 11?
I just touched on 11. Go ahead. You can add more to it.
Oh, okay. There's a lot more to add. Sorry.
Yes, go ahead. Oh, right. Yes, you do. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say.
I just barely touched on it, so go ahead.
All right. They had over them. They had as king over them the angel or the spirit of Tartarus, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, Apollyon, in our language, destroyer. Okay. So there was several falls. That's kind of not quite right. So you got Satan. Everybody knows Satan, Lucifer. You also had, according to Enoch and referenced in Leviticus, Azazel. Azazel was one of the princes, one of the Elohim, the sons of God, the archangels, who came to earth, and he was doing some not great stuff. And he gets chained up out in the wilderness, like the scapegoat that the priest put the sins on. That's sent out to Azazel, not as a sacrifice, but as a how you can't have us kind of thing. So Azazel is chained up out in the wilderness somewhere, like in an actual real being, spiritual being, is chained up under the earth somewhere out in the desert, and you could go there if you wanted to, and had enough money to dig however far down. But anyway, I don't think I'd want to go do that. Likewise, in the abyss, in Tartarus, that's where the 200 angels, the 200 Elohim that that went to Mount Hermon, that are mentioned in Genesis 6, the sons of God, that's where they went to. Because of the judgment that God put on them, they all got chained up. This is where, except for like Azazel and 4 others that we'll mention later, this is where they got, the majority got chained up, is in the abyss, is in Tartarus. These are the spirits that we talked about in Peter, that Jesus went and preached to these spirits, saying, hey, you're still here because you're still under judgment. You're not getting out anytime soon. However, the leader, the king of the abyss, in Enoch, he tells us that the leader of those 200 Elohim, his name is Shemyaza.
So this is not Satan. A lot of people think that this passage is referring
This
to
is not
Satan.
Satan.
This is not
right?
Satan.
Remember, the Bible tells us Satan is loose on the earth, looking for who he can devour. The king of the abyss is not loose on the earth. He's chained up in the abyss. So Satan is loose. Shemyaza, some say Kronos, some say Saturn. He has lots of different names. That's this spiritual entity that's the leader of the 200. That's the king of the abyss. Now, if you remember your Greek mythology, remember before Zeus and Hera and all the Olympian gods. I know I keep going back to Greek, but you see this repeated over and over in Canaanite religion and Egyptian religion and Roman religion. You see it repeated several times. Before there were the gods, there were the old gods, right? So Zeus and the Olympians defeated the Titans, the Titan gods. That's who these are. These are the 200 that fell onto Mount Hermon that are chained up in the abyss, right? Remember, they're telling the fake news version. The fake news is that the Olympian gods overthrew the Titans. The real news is there was a war in the heavens, and God went to the 200 and took the mess out of them, judged them, and chained them up in chains and gloomy darkness that the Bible talks about. So the leader of those 200 here, Abaddon, Apollyon, Destroyer, Saturn, Kronos, Shinyaza, and other names.
Okay. Anything else for these 3 verses? Because that was a lot to throw
That's
at.
a lot, yeah. There's a lot to process. Ask questions, I guess.
Okay, so we'll wrap it up here, and then we'll pick up tomorrow in verse 3 through 10.